Well, here we are again. Welcome back to our discussion of ideas and conflict at the close of King Lear. I'm arguing that Shakespeare's play is predominantly medieval and conservative in its outlook on life, while my friend here believes that Shakespeare was courting naturalism in this play. Certainly Albany's wavering towards Lear's side in Act 5 Scene 1 shows Shakespeare's intention to show the rightness of the great chain of being.
Yes, Edmund describes him as full of alteration and self-reproving. Not what you'd call a reliable ambassador for the great chain of being.
Yes, and those of us who have read the whole play know that Albany is preparing to defend Lear's life while fighting on Edmund's side.
That's ridiculous. And cowardly. Oh, whatever happened to the medieval code of chivalry?
Albany knows that he'll be no good to anyone dead. Since he commands Gunral's army, his plan is the only way to defend Lear. Speaking of Edmund, don't his affairs with Regan and Gunral trigger a murder-suicide? Where does that leave your naturalism?
What? Only two of the principal characters are alive at the end of the play. And neither of them is the rightful king.
I'm glad that you noticed. Yes, the two survivors, not counting Kent, who seeks his own death in order to stay with Lear, are Lear's godson Edgar and eldest son-in-law Albany. In short, the throne goes to the worthiest people, who also happen to be next in line.
Only because your true king and his daughter are both dead. Come on. How can you justify Cordelia's death?
While I agree that it is severe, it is justified. After all, Lear has no right to favor her in the first place. And she certainly has no right to be his biggest heir. At the same time, both elder sisters, by nature or nurture, are completely unfit to govern. In the play, it takes only a month for England to fall into civil war under their control. No, Cordelia's death is a necessary sacrifice to the greater good.
Even Edmund cannot save her. By the way, is his final attempt sincere?
You mean, some good I mean to do in spite of mine own nature? Absolutely. Look. For the first time in his life, Edmund has just realized that somebody, even if it was Gunral, actually loved him. This fact amazes him. The one the other poisoned for my sake, and after slew herself. Also, as he himself acknowledges, doing good is against his nature. And nature was extremely orderly according to the medieval European worldview. It sounds as if Edmund's attempt to stop the unjust hanging of Cordelia is his very first effort to do good in his life. Naturally, he is unfit for the job.
He cannot save Cordelia because he cannot interrupt the chain. And Kent is headed off to kill himself. And these outcomes are okay with Shakespeare.
I agree that it shows a sense of horrible waste in order to patch up the state. The pile of corpses on and off stage, Regan, Gunral, Edmund, Cordelia, Gloucester and Lear, shows the terrible price of maintaining the great chain of being. Edgar and Albany admit that it's a sad time.
No alternatives.
Not yet. British parliamentary democracy didn't exist in Shakespeare's time.
Maybe horrific endings like this one got people thinking about the high cost of feudalism and the great chain of being.
Maybe. Maybe naturalism and incipient modernity were a powerful subtext in Shakespeare after all. Otherwise, the ending would not be so strenuous and elusive. Do you think that cultural phenomena like this one may have got the ball rolling?
Toward what we have today?